to BCC 90 stroke BCC stroke 91 dated
Yes.
2nd January 2019.
Yes.
We have not given approval because of certain missing issues.
Like?
There was no standard bidding document for goods was not provided, and there was no justification for the use of restricted tendering.
Where all those subsequently complied with?
But there is a bidding document provided.
No, you have just told me that on a normal circumstance, the bidding document should have contained certain things.
But in this case, a bidding document was provided.
You just said the bidding document should have contained, did you not say that? Some information that were not present.
A bidding document should come along with a document, a list of suppliers.
Yes.
Here is a bidding document provided, but without.
Exactly.
And our request is that they have not provided a bidding document, and now a bidding document is provided.
No. So any bidding document will suffice, no matter how or what format it comes in. As long as it is a bidding document with the title bidding document, it's sufficient.
A bidding document is one thing, but the list of suppliers is another document that must also be provided. So in this case, our request is for them to provide a bidding document, and that was provided.
What was the bidding document? Did it have all the necessary details it was supposed to have for you to make a decision?
As far as the bidding document is concerned, yes.
But then why did you say that it was supposed to be accompanied with some information when it is and it is not there?
Not inside the bidding document, along. Should be provided along. So here the bidding document is provided, but have not come with a list of. So if we are to go by a checklist, that aspect of the bidding document will be ticked, yes, because it's provided. So, but for the list of suppliers, that will be marked wrong, because that is not provided.
The list of the suppliers you said should come along with the bidding document, should be attached to the bidding document. Did you say that?
Correct.
Exactly. So, or do you want to now detach the two? Initially, you joined the two. You said it should come along, it should be attached with the bidding document. That's what you said, and I am taking your word for it.
Probably we are looking at it from different angles. I am saying that you have a bidding document coming along,
yes,
with a list of suppliers. Here is a bidding document provided without, and I said that if it is a checklist, the bidding document will be ticked, yes, provided, and then the checklist, the list of suppliers will be marked wrong.
Did you or did you not, in this instance, do a proper check and balance?
Whether?
Check and balance. As an authority, will you say there was proper check and balance in this particular procurement?
That may be lacking in this case.
Either there is one or you did not. You know, you see why I like Mr. Jeta. You just say it as it is. And now you want to say yes, but you don't want to appear or to look bad. You don't have to. Was a proper check and balance exercise in this circumstance?
Actually, no.
Exactly. So now.
Yes, Council, before you proceed. Mr. Sanyang, do you think this particular procurement is in compliance with Section 39, which talks about from a limited number of bidders known to the procuring organization for the selection of these 3 bidders? Do you think, in all honesty, you understand?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Huh?
No.
So, which means they did not comply with Section 39?
Correct.
None of the provisions. So, in other words, the fact that they applied for RT was wrong for you to have approved that.
Well,
Mr. Sanyang, you just told me yes now that they did not comply with section 39 that talks about limited number of bidders known to the procurement authority.
Yes,
with
section.
respect, yes,
Exactly,
with respect
yes.
to this issue of
Yes,
dustbins.
yes.
Because you said, you know, for them to use the RT method of procurement, there should be a limited number of suppliers in the market to allow you to avail them the opportunity to use RT. You understand? And forward to you the number of bidders to that perspective. Is that not what you said?
Yes.
Yes, and then you said, I now ask you, I said, so we are right to say that this requirement, you understand, it's not something that they honestly, you understand, treated.
You are right.
Yes. So it cannot be another answer, because you cannot tell me that, you understand, given the fact that you have also said here this morning that you normally conduct market surveys to allow you to know how to compare the information given to you with them. But if you could recollect, when we were doing the post-review compliance of all the documents, of all the files you have sent in, you've realized that no market survey was done on any of those procurement activities.
Correct.
You understand? So which means the information they were giving you was wrong information, because it's not based on anything. And this is what council was trying to tell you, that, you know, POs identify their potential suppliers or service providers and write to you and say that this is the method we want to use, and you approve. So it is a very big lapse on your side as a regulatory authority. Is that not correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now, how on the 25th of February 2019, you approved the identified contractor, Keba and Sons. How was the supplier, Keba and Sons, awarded the contract?
Date again?
On the 25th of February 2019, there's a letter you wrote to CEO of Banjul, BCC, wherein you had approved the award of contract for the provision of 3,000 dustbins to Keba and Sons household cleaning material at an amount of 13,800,000.
Yes, 25th of February 2019.
Yes, so out of 3 suppliers, did they all submit submit their bids? Did they all take part in the bidding process?
I have not seen the evaluation report in the submission here.
Is there an evaluation report there? There is none?
There is no, I have not seen it.
Is there anything in the file that will give you information regarding whether the other 2 bidders did actually submit their bid?
I have not seen any.
Yeah, you have not seen any. So how did Keba and Sons come about being awarded the contract?
Council, like I said earlier, we are going through the file, but we observed that there are a lot of, some documents are missing, so I don't know.
Mr. Sergeant, the letter council is treating is very clear. It says that the authority is in receipt of your valuation report. Is that not correct?
Correct.
Yes, so it is not in your file.
Correct. It's not there. It's not there.
It's not in your file.
It's
so
not
is it
there.
possible that you have different files for the same transaction, but things are filed differently in different files?
We don't have different files for different transactions.
So one can safely assume that there was no evaluation report.
As per the letter, there is, because based on the evaluation report,
No, the yes is what? Is it there was a valuation report or there was no valuation report?
According to the letter, the approval is based on the information provided in the evaluation report, which cannot be found here.
Yeah. So we will avail you the opportunity to cross-check from the PO office whether there was an evaluation report.
Yeah.
And this can be provided to us.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, yes, so now Keba and Sons has been awarded the contract, but you can't tell us how. Is that correct?
Yes, I cannot.
There is the same letter that I made a reference to. It's making reference to a letter dated the 19th of February 2019. Do you see that in the file?
From GPPA?
From BCC.
BCC. You said the letter dated?
The 19th of February 2019. Do you see it?
Not yet. From BCC.
Now, what was the initial, whilst you were checking you're looking for for that letter, what was the initial, the dividend sum, the amount for
Council, can you?
the 3,000 dustbin?
Mr. Tamura, is it possible that prior to you submitting these files, some documents were taken from the files? Because we have noted that in most of the documents, we see very incomplete files. You know, it's like for all of the transactions in all of the files that you have submitted, which we have gone through, we see that we cannot see determination of the transactions or final communication or closure of the activities of the various procurement that the POs have done over the period.
Yes, Chair. Especially this particular one really beats my imagination, to be very sincere. It's very evident that documents are missing here, to be very sincere, because one of the action officers who treated this file is extremely meticulous in handling files. So that's why I'm surprised that some of the documents could not be traced here. Yeah, I'm really surprised about that, because that guy, minor thing hardly escaped him. So that's why I'm just really surprised. How comes? But the fact that in our response, there is a quotation that in response to your evaluation report, that's an indication that probably there must have been an evaluation report, because these are major deviations. So I don't think this can escape us, really. It has happened, and we'll go the extra mile to actually see what has actually happened. But it's really happening. Missing documents is really happening. At what end, I don't know, but it's really happening.
So would you also agree that we have not seen anywhere in all the files we have treated that Section 45 of the Act, which talks about grounds for choice of procurement method used to be noted in the record of proceedings. Like for the whole of the transactions, we have not seen anywhere where the POs recorded, you understand, in their proceedings, the reasons of the choice of their procurement method. And we have not also seen you highlight or direct the POs to provide same.
That's a good observation, but our understanding has always been that the grounds for the records for procurement methods are always captured in the reporting forms. Let's say for restricted tender, the form 002, because it indicates clearly the grounds for the choice of your procurement method. So that has been our understanding. Once it is captured there, it suffices as far as we are concerned.
Well, I believe that the forms were done pursuant to the Act, right? The forms were developed pursuant to what the Act is providing for you to do, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so in this instant, I think, you understand, if the Act intended, you understand, you could have made reference in your regulations that it is in pursuant of this provision of the Act, you understand, so that when somebody is looking at this and looking at the transactions, will understand that compliance was done.
Yes, in addition to the form I have just referenced to, we also expect the minutes to indicate the grounds for the choice of procurement method. So normally, these are the two things that we looked at and make a decision as to whether the grounds are satisfied or not. But notwithstanding, we are open to correction.
Thank you. Yes, Council.
So the letter that I made a reference to, the 19th February 2019, should probably be the evaluation report. Submission of the approval of the report, which is not in the file. And you are saying probably it's missing in the file. Is that correct? But are you sure it is even in existence, in fact?
I cannot say for certain.
You cannot say for certain.
It should be part of the submission.
Yes. But would you ordinarily have a copy in the office?
We'll try to find out. We'll find out.
The other two suppliers, are they also known to you, GPA? Do you know whether they are registered with GPA?
Well, we cannot remember all suppliers who registered with GPPA, but given the submissions, we assume that they are registered, because otherwise they would not have been identified.
No, we will not assume that, because in fact, we may even safely assume that they did not even register with GPA, because if what we have dealt with throughout, we see that so many suppliers did not register with GPA. Is that not the case?
Yes, but
so many.
Yes,
that
but
contracts are being awarded to so many suppliers who failed to register with GPA. Is that a fact?
Yes, that has happened.
So we will not assume that because they are identified. You know why? We see also ghost suppliers. We know what happened in the procurement business.
Correct.
Is that not a possibility?
You
so you know
right.
about ghost suppliers, right? What can you tell us about ghost suppliers?
Actually, these are suppliers that would be sometimes identified when they are not even existing.
Exactly.
So it's happening.
It's happening. So we know that is a fact that procurement organizations or officers, sometimes those who want to engage in corruption, would probably the easy way out. You may not have a situation like Basse wherein someone will just walk in and withdraw $2 million just like that, so that it will be very much clear. If you're dealing with a fairly smart individual, what the first thing they do, and which is a pattern, which you have already seen, haven't you, is the first thing is to not opt for open tender. because then that will kind of minimize the risk of corruption. Is that not the case?
Correct.
Then they will now go in for a more favorable method of procurement. In this instance, wherein the money is way above the threshold for some other methods, they will opt for the other one, which is restricted tender. Is that not the case? But what is more troubling is that when they know they have an authority, that is not fact-checking, that is not really making sure that they abide by the rules and regulation. I know it must be very much inconvenient. But then, when you have that, then it's easy for them to just escape just in the thin air. Mr. Tambura.
Yes, Council. Your observations are noted, but when it comes to the issue of registration, so this was one of the gaps, the reason why that the 2022 Act has come to address.
No. Before we go there, I am saying that it is easy to perpetuate or to commit crimes or avoid regulation and rules or laws when the authority that is supposed to assist in regulating or making sure that a particular rule or regulation is being abided by is not really doing their job very well. To put it in a more simple term, because these two files we have dealt with, it's very clear that they were not supposed to be, approval was not supposed to be granted. In fact, for this particular $13,800,000 is procurement of the dustbins. Approval in the beginning was refused based on some observations, one of which is that if you look at it, there was no justification. Is that not the case?
Yes, Council.
And throughout the procurement, there was still no justification. In fact, they didn't even bother to provide any justification, and yet still it was approved.
Yes, Council.
What would be the logical explanation for that? Would there be any logical explanation for that?
From the submission so far, nobody can explain logically. That's why I said I'm very surprised that most of these fundamental records are missing here, because assuming these methods, these records.
Let's forget the missing records for now. Now the records we have, which we have already dealt with.
Yes.
We are saying that first you said we cannot grant you approval because you did not provide us with the justification as to why you should use this particular method, why we should restrict the tender.
Right.
But down the line, you approve the application, regardless of the fact that they still do not meet up with that requirement, which is fundamental.
Yes.
Is it not?
Yes.
Then something must be wrong somewhere. Is that not the case?
I understand very well what you have said.
Exactly.
That's why I said, as per the records here, something fundamental is wrong. That's what I'm saying. But
yes.
I'm just surprised that some of these things are really not here, because
that's why I don't want you to go.
In fact, I'm not even defending.
Wait a minute. As if you say some of the records are not present, it may suggest that in fact what we are discussing may even exist, but then the record is incomplete. Let's not try to even paint that picture. The records that exist now,
Before us.
before you,
Yes.
the one you have, is that when you look at it, they did not fulfill the requirements. The fundamental requirement, one of which is there is no justification for the granting of restricted tendering. Is that not correct?
Correct.
But then you subsequently granted the application even without providing the justification.
Perfect.
And that is really wrong.
Right.
Which you have already accepted.
Right.
That is what I'm talking about.
Noted.
So that at some point there must be an explanation for that. It's either the person approving is really in connivance with the person applying, or it's just grossly an issue of gross incompetence. Which one do you think is the case?
You only gave me two options.
Do you want to have a third option?
Yeah.
Like what? What will you suggest? Maybe the third option.
Maybe there were some internal weaknesses in terms of controls.
That's grossly incompetent.
Maybe. So
That's incompetence.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So because for
So which one do you think is the case? Was an issue of competence or the issue of financial malpractice?
Council, I wouldn't want to speculate on this matter, but what I can safely say is, as per the records before us here,
Yes.
approval should not have been granted.
We have already exhausted
Yes.
that point.
Yes.
We now want to understand why. You see, it's 13,800,000.
Yes.
So we had discussed, me and my friend had discussed the issue of, because first we don't see the bidding document. I'm sorry, the evaluation report.
Yes.
We don't even know whether those two suppliers even exist in the first place. As we spoke about ghost suppliers, you know what I'm talking about. It is an issue in procurement. You had
Yeah.
confirmed that.
Sorry, it's 3 suppliers, according to the records.
Yes, 3 suppliers. But then the one supplier that was awarded the contract is Keba and Sons.
Yes.
This particular supplier is a known supplier is a known business dealer to BCC. Is that not correct? And actually, it's a known business dealer as well to GPPA. Because so many awards, you will see Keba and Sons. Is that not correct, sir? Is that correct?
Correct.
Exactly. So Keba and Sons is not someone you will have to go and check whether the business exists or not, because you know the supplier. You know the business dealer. Now the other 2, we are not sure whether in fact it's a ghost, these are ghost suppliers. You know why that is important? Because the idea is looking at the transactions here. It just clear that there's only one. You don't even have to be a procurement officer or expert to know that there appears to be the targeting of only one supplier. Does that not suggest? Does that not appear to be a suggestion in this situation? I believe you should provide a genuine answer. It appears maybe you are not the one who even approved this. Let's try to help each other out and provide a very genuine answer to this.
Yes, I understand. Like it is an authority. It's an authority, as he has just confirmed about the existence of Keba and Sons.
Yes.
Yeah, like personally, anyway, it's news to me.
What is news to you?
Well, like I don't even know the business, this Keba and Sons, for example, personally, but it's not at personal level.
I'm not saying
it's about the authority. Yes.
Saying on a personal level whether you know. I'm saying as an authority, GPA,
exactly.
You are familiar with so many contracts being awarded to a business called Keba and Sons. Is that not a fact?
All right. Yes,
is that not a fact?
Yes, Council.
Exactly. So what are you trying to say now? Because my point is the other 2 suppliers that are said to have taken part in the bidding process.
Yes. Whether they are ghosts or not.
You don't even know, do we?
We cannot say for sure whether they are ghosts or not yet.
Exactly, but
yes.
We can't even say for sure whether they even exist or not yet.
Yes.
Now, how sure then are you in when this kind of procurement is been approved, 13,800,000? It's not a small money. When they have been approved first, there was no ground whatsoever of the authority granting the approval to only a restricted group of suppliers. First, it's already established, but you still went ahead and said, fine, you can deal with the number of suppliers you want to deal with. The second issue is you were not even informed or notified or given information regarding who these known suppliers are, but yet still you gave approval. Is that correct?
Yes, Council. One thing, the established practice at our level is if submissions are made, before approval is granted, all these pre-qualified bidders, let's say 3 of them in this case, they must submit their bidding document, in other words, their offers, in response to the request from BCC. And these are the 3 offers we cross-check, scrutinize, compare vis-a-vis the requirements. And in addition to the evaluation report, it is only in the presence of the evaluation report plus the submission from these three bidders. It is only as a result of perusal of these things that an approval is generated.
And so
that's
sorry, and is it also part of your consideration of the contracts committee minutes meeting?
Yes.
Which will discuss how they arrive at selecting?
Yes, the contracts committee, because these are key requirements. The contracts committee, in fact, the evaluation report is either being generated or prepared by the contracts committee or the evaluation committee. These things, we don't compromise that.
No,
plus the submission from the three.
Wait a minute. Don't say you don't compromise that. You have been compromising with these things time and again.
Yeah.
Don't say that. You actually, the reason why I don't really want to bother myself going about things that you have really compromised, because we've already said this throughout the month.
Let me reframe myself. Then let me just go back to my initial phrase.
Yes.
That the established practice.
Yes.
Yes, at our level. Like the evaluation report. Of course, the evaluation report would be.
The established practice, is it in the established practice? Is it not in compliance with the rules and the regulation, or do they have a divergence at one point? Because if you say established practice, I'm beginning to understand you, I stand to be corrected, that there is a point where there is a divergence, that you are not strictly complying with the rules and the regulation, and then you have a standard that you observe. So can you please tell us, enlighten us?
Yes, the standards are like, yes, I mean, the established practice, these are the things that we normally looked at. We looked at before we are able to make informed decisions. And these are the things we looked at before we are able to make informed decisions, and they are in a form of a checklist. And this, of course, include the contracts committee meetings or evaluation reports, the submissions from the bidders. And normally, it is not a rule for one. It should be across. It should be across. Once submissions are made before the authority, these are things that you should look for across before you take a decision, either to approve or otherwise. So that's what I'm saying. So that's why those things that we normally looked at, I have realized that those things are really absent here. They are really absent. So that's why I'm really baffled.
What do you mean when you said you are really baffled? Mr. Mura, it appears as if you haven't been here for a while now. You seem to forget the drill. What do you mean you have been baffled?
In fact, I'm not even trying to reinvent the wheel. All I'm saying is, like this particular one, because the key things here, yes, the evaluation report, because it is based on the report, that's the time we take a decision. But the report is now absent.
This particular procurement is really, it does not only show the level of malpractice, but then it shows a total disregard of the rules, even at the level of GPPA. The others, you may see one or two or three, but for some of these files, you see total disregard of what ought to be done, as if they don't even exist. You see, at some point, it almost exists like a business for people who are supposed to either approve or apply for a particular procurement to be granted. Because when it is really serious as of this nature, then one may begin to wonder. Because you can't even be, no matter how incompetent one is, any person approving this particular procurement or like ones, no matter how incompetent you are, I mean, you cannot make certain basic mistakes. You will agree with me?
Yes, Council.
Because even for those who are not procurement officers, if you train them for a day like you do, sometimes they come to have their courses for a week or so, they wouldn't make some basic errors unless they have ulterior motives. You cannot tell me that the preference is to have an open tender, but then you at first it appears as if it's in fact a bluff. You come up with your application and you want me to grant a certain method so that you do your own dealings. Now I will first send you a letter and tell you I am not approving this restricted tender because you did not meet up with the justification. So subsequently, you may meet up with my personal demands, and all of a sudden it has been granted. Even at the time it has been granted, I still haven't met up with you still haven't met up with the requirement. So how can you explain that? That's why I said to you two things. It is either the approver is grossly incompetent, or you are financially compromised. And I ask you as to which one do you think is the case? Because this is not just an issue of mere competence. You will agree. Is that not the case?
Yes, that's why I said one of the action officers here is very meticulous, and
one of the
action officers here,
yes,
is very he's very cautious of what he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I wouldn't want to really say it's about competence here.
No, so if you don't want to say about incompetence, then you're only left with one choice.
Yeah, and I don't want to speculate for the other choice.
Exactly, and this is the same convenience that the area councils will have or the procurement councils will have when they're dealing with you. There's the same convenience they will have. Do you understand that? You are not qualified as per the rules, but if you satisfy other set of rules, you may be qualified. How do you explain it? And you can't even tell me how Keba and Sons was awarded this contract.
Because I did not see the evaluation report. That would have helped me to really explain in details.
No, we will come back to that. We will have to come back tomorrow. You come back with the evaluation report if you have any. You give us with sufficient information because, of course, naturally, they will come and give evidence and say where you are sitting right now. But until then, the issue of targeting one bidder is all that I see individually. It's all that I see here, and so therefore you were only used as a rubber stamp. Hence, it made sense when the letter we read earlier on the contracts committee, the CEO said that it does not matter your opinion, that you cannot stop the procurement. That's what they said literally. Is that not the case?
Yes, Council.
So now,
Council?
yes, please proceed.
Sorry, Mr. Tamura, did all the three companies submit their bid? They are bidding for these bins because it was restricted tender. Three companies were identified. Did they all submit their bids for the selection?
Yeah, the evaluation report would have helped really conclude on that.
Let me come back. Were you, because this huge amount of money, you can have 13 million. Indeed. Were you not supposed to be represented in this bidding process?
For
the GPPA, were you not supposed to be represented in this bidding process?
Like at the bid opening
yes,
stage,
yes, the bid opening, I mean, yeah.
Yes, normally we endeavor to attend as much bid openings as possible, but practically it's not possible to attend all bid openings.
But for this one, you were not there?
I have to confirm even that one also, whether we are present in this one or not. Because most of the institutions, they invite us for bid opening, most of them. But I did not see any invitation from BCC for this. Yeah. Okay, so my colleague is just saying they have invited us. So if they have invited us, the norm is we send a representative to attend the bid opening, except if there are circumstances beyond our control. But normally, once we are invited, we send representatives.
Normally, they come back with a report. Your representative?
Yes. You know, at bid opening stage, the report is very scanty. Normally, it's the participants and their bid prices. It's just a preliminary report. The participant, their bid prices.
And they come back with those things to you?
Yes, they normally furnish us with that information.
This I know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, before council takes up, it seems as if sometimes POs would write to you explaining that they have attached documents, when actually, in actual fact, the documents they are sending will have no attachment. Is that possible?
Yeah, very possible, Chair. Very possible, Chair.
Yes, the reason why I ask is that the letter dated 10th of January, I don't think there is any attachment to that effect, which is saying, please find attached both the bidding documents and Form 002 for your consideration. And it further went on to give reason why you needed to reduce the bidding time to 15 days. So we have also noted that the POs, they always ask you to reduce the bidding time. Did that not raise an alarm to you? Because too often in all the letters, particularly when it's huge procurement, they ask you to reduce the bidding time.
Yes, Chair. Once a while, we do give consideration to reduce the bidding period to 2 weeks as per provision of the regulation. However, if it is open tender, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, we allow them to go in for a full-blown bidding period, 30 days. But sometimes, if urgency are expressed, they ask for reduction of the bidding period, and if we feel the reduction may not be unfair, let's say you have already identified 3 suppliers or 4 suppliers or 5 suppliers, you have communicated to all of them at the same time, and we feel that the ground is level, and we do not see anything that may jeopardize the process because of the reduction of the bidding period, we normally give up consideration because of the urgency expressed.
Well, for most of the files we have seen, we've not seen where you have raised any issue or concern with the reduction of time for bidding, because these are all restricted tender or single source. So you are always approving reduction of time. That is what we have seen in the files.
Yes, Chair.
Yeah. Thank you. Council? Yes, wait, just this last question. Then you. Well, if you look at your letter dated the 17th of January, 2019, it seems to us that that's the last letter you wrote from your office. And perusing the file, we realized that there is no response to that letter. And the letter has indicated that some steps must be taken to address certain concerns you've raised in the bid documents. Was there any response to your letter dated the 17th of January?
My colleague is checking the letter.
Yes, whilst he is checking that, let me just indicate what you said that the PO should do, that is Banjul City Council. You said, following careful review of your bidding document and the related attachments pertaining to the above captioned procurement, the authority requests that the following are regularized and resubmit for our consideration. The first one is amend clause 6 on the bid data sheet in order to correspond with clause 14 of page 17. Amend clause 17H on the bid data sheet in order to correspond with schedule of requirement under the column delivery schedule in months from date of notice of award of page 20.
Yes, I've seen it.
Input the technical specification on the combined technical specification format on page 21 of the bidding document. Indicate the deadline for purchase of the bidding document in clause 6 of the invitation to bid. Indicate the required time. So what, have you seen this letter? Yes. So what this is showing us is that the bid document that they have identified, that they have selected, has issues, and you have written to tell them to regularize that particular bid document. Is that not the case here?
Yes, ma'am.
So why should you, as a regulatory authority, do this for the PO? Because if you are to, because we are very clear, because Mr. Sanyang has taken us through that the bid document should be very explicit. It should not be ambiguous. It should be very clear, so that at the end of the day, each bidder is even given time to clarify if they don't understand. So it is our perception as Commission that you help them rewrite this bid as an authority.
Yeah. Okay, Chair, like the observations here, these are common observations we do, and they are not akin to councils. If you should have the opportunity to check our records, these are common observations across that we do. If initial submissions are made in the bidding document, as my colleague said, it's true, the bidding document should be very precise, and there shouldn't be consistency. If you look at
there should be consistency.
Yes, yeah, there shouldn't be inconsistency. That's what I'm saying. Okay. If you look at this observation, it's more about the dates, because we have in the invitation to bids there are dates, the bid data sheet there are dates, and the schedules of requirement there are dates. So in the invitation to bid,
it's not just dates, because this is talking about technical specification.
Yes, I'm coming. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, like if you check, most of the issue here is about the dates. I'll come to the technical specification. So if you set different dates in the invitation to bid, in the bid data sheet, and the schedule of requirement, different dates, and you say the submission here is 10 a.m., the submission in the other part is 11, you are confusing the potential bidders. So that's why this was highlighted, so that the date tally speak. On the issue of the technical specification, in the bidding document we have what we call the combined technical specification. That's where, as an institution, you are expected to indicate all your specification. So if that was not done, the action officer must have indicated or reminded you to put those things, because all these things will help level the ground for competition.
The technical specification, is it normally contained in some of your forms?
Technical specification for bidding,
yes,
they are normally in the bidding document. If you check, there is a page here in the bidding document. The page is only for technical specification.
But is that part of your forms, or is it not? It's a separate thing that the PO provides based on what they want to procure.
Depending on the procurement method, RFQ technical specifications will be indicated on Form 101. That is RFQ. But for bidding, there is a bidding document that must be prepared. And as he rightly said, there is a portion called the combined technical specification, purposely for an institution to indicate their requirements.
And that is normally lifted from the technical proposal that the bidder is putting forward. Is that it?
Well, in a bidding, they are expected to put everything in the bidding document, because the implications of having it on a separate form or a separate piece of paper is like different information may be provided to different suppliers just on a piece of paper. You can have a piece of paper with a specification that may be different from what you will give to another supplier. So the law is like you ensuring that it is in the bidding document that all potential suppliers are going to buy, rather than having it on.
How do you assess that the technical specifications that are given to you by the PO, they will be sufficient, or they will be correct to the extent that value for money will be obtained when you approve? How do you assess that?
Well, in the first place, what we want to...
No, how do you assess it?
Well, the procuring organizations are responsible to ensuring that what they are buying is fit for purpose. But then on the other side, when they indicate, they are the ones that are going to tell us exactly what they wanted. So GPPA telling them what they want or what should be done may tantamount to interfering with what they want to buy.
No, I'm saying that how do you assess? Because you are a regulatory institution. You assess. Your role is to make sure that they comply to obtain value for money, right?
Yes, yes.
Because your basic objective is that when procurements are done on behalf of public institutions, value for money is the paramount, right? So now how do you assess that? Because I can give you specification, which, you understand, if you don't have the competence to cross-check that, you know, you might approve something that will not be value for money. Would that not be a possible scenario?
Yeah, that is possible. It's possible.
Yes. So that is why I'm asking, how do you assess? If they give you a technical specification, how do you peruse that and feel that this technical specification, when approval is granted, it will be value for money?
That is why, as he rightly said, procurement is a process and procedures must be followed. Now, we expect, as the law requires, that procuring organizations are responsible and they should have the technical know-how to give us what they wanted. That is why the law even provides that if a procuring organization doesn't have the technical capacity, the law allows them to co-op to ensure that they are given that technical backup to ensure that they come with whatever is good for the institution and for the general public.
Yes, so now going back to my question, was there any response to this letter dated the 17th, which you wrote to them, asking them to provide all this and to do all this correction? Because I have not seen any response to this letter in the file.
Yes, we can cross-check to confirm, but if you look at the letter, because this is an indication that the initial submission wasn't approved. That's why we highlighted these things.
Yes, yes, that is why I am asking, because you have highlighted this. So for you to move from that level, you have indicated that this should be done to make sure that you have correct documents.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And there will be no inconsistency. So now I am saying, was there any response from DCC to say that they have done all these things that you have asked them to do? Is there any letter to that effect?
We're trying to confirm the letter. However, these are bidding, you know, initially there wasn't any bidding document. It is as a result of these letters and observation that we have bidding documents, 2 bidding documents here. So the initial bidding document had those issues. That's why we highlighted them. So normally, if
so
you
now,
see...
Sorry, now they submitted subsequent documents.
Yes.
So was this opportunity given to all the bidders, or it was just for one?
No, here it was directly between us and BCC before the involvement of any bidder. This was directly between GPA, because at this stage, no bidder is in fact aware of the correspondence. Until we clear it, that's the time they invite the bidders.
So please kindly check whether there was a response, and if there is no letter, kindly check the second bidded documents that were submitted, whether they have all these corrections, so that we are sure that the letter dated 17th, action was taken pursuant to what you asked for. Thank you.
Okay, Council, we'll confirm that.
Yeah, let's conclude.
Yes, I think it's yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Sanyan. Mr. Sanyan and Mr. Samura, you just mentioned about technical specifications. You look at the technical specifications, and also you also look at value for money. I think these are very important variables that you look at when it comes to procurement. You also mentioned that you do a market survey to look at the prices of goods and services. We have seen some time back that the KMC bought 10,000 bins for
$17,500,000, and that is $1,750 per bin. Here today, we are seeing BCC buying 3,000 bins for $13,800,000, and that is $4,600 per bin. How do you reconcile the variance?
Honorable, I think we can go over and verify, but remember that prices are determined by specifications. It's just like vehicles. Vehicles don't have the same prices throughout. Depending on the kind of vehicle that you wanted, you may have different prices.
And can you help us with the variance, with the technical specifications of the two purchases or the two procurements?
Take note. Take note. And on the other issue about the quality and the like that you talk about, now GPPA also, from time to time, when we feel that we need advice from any expert, we do invite people to come and give us the technical backup or technical support. Right now, when there is a request regarding construction, we ensure that POs provide a BOQ from the Ministry of Works, and the Ministry of Works will write to indicate that, yes, the BOQ is okay and the like. Now, some time ago, we have done it with, for example, the Ministry of Agriculture, where experts will be invited to help us determine the quality of fertilizer. And sometimes we also do it with the Ministry of Health when, for example, drugs are specified. We don't have that expertise, but we will invite somebody to come and give us that technical backup. So sometimes we do that. The law allows it for procuring organizations as well as GPP.
I believe that it's after 5. This is a convenient point to stop. We will see you tomorrow morning, and we have a good evening, and we may rise.